Welcome back to another episode on the Boom Bust channel. I guess an editorial, I don't know. Out of bounds, whatever. Either way, we here to talk about the fall off from J. Cole. I gave my initial reaction. I've heard it so many times since. I'm going to talk a little bit about the album as a whole, and then we're just going to get into the rankings. That's what we're here for. So, listen to it so many times, all the way through individual songs, starting to add it to playlists, ton of reactions, reading, people's reviews and stuff. And so, one thing that I found, number one, this was about hip hop first and foremost, and then secondly, it was about paying homage to putting on Fayetteville, North Carolina, and all that. His hometown. And lastly, it was just kind of a conversation about motivation and legacy and all that. So all that to say that you could tell people who have good knowledge of or history of hip hop enjoyed this way more, and that tends to skew older, but still, there's younger people who know their hip hop too, because there's a lot of good stuff in there. But when you know not only the significance of some of the music that's being incorporated or being paid homage to, but if you have a nostalgia attached to that, then it amplifies your enjoyment of the whole project. So that's definitely what I've seen. And I started to notice, because as I've said before, and you probably could see from the channel, this isn't a music channel. I don't talk about music a whole lot. And honestly, I'm not a super fanatic of music. I like music, but I'm not these content creators out here that give extra strong opinions and know all the numbers and argue about stuff. Like, I don't do that. So listening to a lot of these people in the music space, really starting since the beef, that's really how I even started to even like give music reactors the time of day. But it was a way for me to keep up with what was happening. But either way, um, listening to that, and since like a couple years ago, I've seen that the younger generation tends to skew towards music, like the beat and the production of stuff, more so before they ever even talk about the content of what's happening. And the my generation older, like rap was all about the bars. Like all that other stuff is cool, but we go straight to the bars. And I've seen that that's definitely changed with these up and coming generations, in general. And so you could tell by the reactor and everything, by their age, that they focused a lot more their either critiques or their praise on the music. Oh, this beat and what it feels like. And I had taught this seminar a few years back about race, power, and hip hop, and that was one of the first things that a lot of students said, because the main focus of that course was lyric analysis, and the number of students that was like, I know this song but I never looked at the lyrics. And they talked about how it changed their perception of like some of their favorite music, that they never really looked at the content. That just blew my mind. Like, I just grew up in that era, that crunk era and all that, where like that was a flex. To know the lyrics was a flex. To be able to spit it word for word was a flex. So before we had Rap Genius and all that stuff, you had A to Z lyrics, and later on, but before all that, you just had to listen to it over and over to really get the lyrics. And so that was a big thing. So it was just shocking to see that students was like, yeah, I don't really look at the lyrics, or I don't know the lyrics. Like, it was all about vibes, like how it vibe and how it feels. So and Kanye, to his credit, and others said it, that 808s and the psychology of that, but that's heavy what these people are into. So a lot of the different discourse about the album, in terms of, I think some people going in wanting to, go into an album like, okay, what's the new banger? Some people going into like, okay, what's the one that I want to vibe out to? or somebody, a lot of people going in, okay, what's the mess? What's the diss? And by the way, I think the whole diss and battle and beef culture is the most ironic thing ever. All these grown men like yelling about who is, who's manly based on who's gossiping the most and how they're listening to songs to see if they said something about you. Like, I just find that hilarious. But anyway, so a lot of people go into these things with different things, reasons. Me, I just go in and listen to the music. Like, I'm a big fan of Cole. I got high expectations for him, but I'm gonna just go in, listen, and see what I think. And again, I think this is a complete project. Like, this is a fully formed idea conceptually of what you're trying to convey. And you just don't get that a lot. You really don't. You get a lot of people that just put out songs. And you got, honestly, over the course of history, not every single album are projects. Some are just a collection of songs, but at least for me, I still think most people would say College Dropout is probably one of the most famous ones to like really be a project, like fully formed concept. And I just thought this was, kind of in that world where there was a theme. There were themes throughout this, like kind of that I mentioned. And so yeah, I definitely love it, but we know I'm not really here to break down the album as a whole. I'll talk about each song individually, but I would say the one thing that I'm been kind of craving, because Cole gets knocked a lot for like being repetitive, and honestly, he can't avoid that criticism. That is a fair criticism. I do wish Cole spoke more about current events. Like for your last album, The Farewell and all that, like I get it. You're gonna talk about the hometown. He did the whole concept of the two different ages and all that fire. But I wish throughout his whole career he spoke more about like current events, what he was thinking, whether it be political or entertainment wise, something. I ain't saying, throw shots at people, but like, say every now and then he'll say something that is, I won't say profound, but something that is conscious socially, but not enough. And it's a lot about, like, if you sum it up like AI style, you'd be like, he grew up in a dangerous area and he wasn't part of it, but he grew up around it and he made it out, trying to show people a better way. That's it. Like that's almost all the songs, and he does it in creative ways. But I just wish especially with what's going on right now. There's so much going on right now that I felt like you could have easily threw some bars in there. So, but other than that, good stuff. So let's go through. I thought about doing like a grade, but look, this stuff is fire. We're just gonna give a description. I don't know if I need to do a grade, especially because it would have been tough. All right, so anyway, number 24 is 29 intro, acoustics, like some music. Obviously not a full song, so not much to say, but it was chill. I label it as chill. Ocean Way, same thing. I see a lot of people that are like wilding out over that song. Like, I thought it was cool. It was an outro. Like, I didn't feel like that was one I had to think too hard about. And The Whole World Is the Ville, which I think is a dope song, but that's for the hometown. That's why I labeled it. Like, and one of the first things that I saw some people online saying is that you got to be from North Carolina to appreciate this album. I don't think that's true, but I do think for this song, you definitely like got to be from the Ville to feel it the way Cole meant it to feel, and that's fine. Like certain things, like I said, the whole album, one of the directions or the objectives was to shout out the hometown, and I think he did it throughout. But this song was just straight up like, this is for the hometown. And you see some of the celebrations, the listening parties, all the things they're doing in Fayetteville when the album dropped. This song that's exactly what he do it for. So that's a group of like You know, songs that I don't really got, probably with Skip, don't really got to touch on. And really, the Ville, I listen to that still, but the intro and or the intro and outro, you know, kind of move. Okay. Oh, I might have sneak peeked. My bad. Okay, so the next batch of songs, this is where we start to heat up. 2-6. I like that one. It was cool. Uh, I saw a lot of people, especially when the first drop, was going crazy over it. But I think once you get through the rest of the albums, it's just like, yeah, that's good, but we got some better stuff there. But I like it. I like 2-6. Only You featuring Burna Boy. Chilling. It was chill and it was real. This is coming right off of Life Sentences. So now he's really leaning into talking about his marriage. And I think, you know, again, what he was talking about, that's some real stuff, some real relationship stuff. And Burna Boy and the beat and everything felt very Wakanda Forever. And I just thought, yeah, it was chill. It was good stuff. Run the Train. I ain't gonna lie, this was towards the bottom at first, and I still label this I don't know. The more I listen to it, the more I like it. And Cole definitely has bars. Oh, I forgot to say, I knew I was forgetting something. So when I thought about these songs, I really thought about in four ways. Like you got bars, BOE, bars over everything. And then you got the production, musicality, whatever you want to talk about as far as that. Then I talk about the creativity, you know, creativity concepts. And then I talk about the impact, like that's the vibe part that people talk about. So that's the four ways I look at that. So 2-6, I thought everything was cool. It was cool. It was even, you know, cool. Only You, like I said, it definitely won his most bars. It was kind of a ballad almost, or I don't know if I'm using that word right. Run a Train, I had to move it up. The more I listen to it, I'm not. Future part is growing on me, but the more I listen to it, I'm just like, you can't deny the bars, especially in that first verse. Cole was rapidy rapping, and so I had to move it up, and it's growing on me. Uh, Bunsy Road Blues, Tim's and Future, that's a vibe, man. That's I don't think Cole was like going crazy on that, but he left half that song for Tim's and Future. Future, I like Future part. I see a lot of people say they didn't like it. I like Future part, and obviously Tim's goes crazy. And it's so funny. People are like, Tim's carried the song. It's again, he left the space for those two to, you know, do their thing. Like the man got 24 songs or whatever. Like it's clear he could have rapped if he wanted to, but this is what we're talking about with a project. And especially because Cole made beats on this as well. Like the man crafted these songs in a particular way. Drum and bass, that moved up. That's a vibe too, but it got bars. It got bars, and honestly, I was just listening to it earlier. I kind of wanted to move it up over the Villas. So those got to rank. I know people love Tim's and stuff, but those got to rank ahead for me because of the vibe. Actually, no, I know why I put Villas over it because Villas had the little sample flip with elevators, and I believe it was another one on there too, but that was the most obvious one. So the Me and You, Your Mama and Your Cousin too, and then they said they riding through the Ville. Like I like that. I like that whole part of the project. Like I said, for me, pretty much all the different hip hop pieces he incorporated are from my lifetime, and I have, you know, great affinity, nostalgia for it, so that gave extra points for me. So having Erica and kind of mixing her in there, but then obviously Erica's connection to Andre 3000, like so, you know, just again, whole for the culture. And but he had big bars in there too, like he was flowing on that one. All right, so the next group. Oh, I think earlier I accidentally. I think this is Man Up Above. Bad. Oh, and I am giving sneak peeks. Hold on, my bad, my bad. Okay, so we heating up a little more. So number 15 is Legacy, and I said this was chill and real. And this is another one that moved up for me, because at first it was mostly 39, this 39 that was up at the top, but um, he's talking about some real stuff. He's talking about trying to get the one that ran away. This is before he got married, and he's singing on there. He's rapping too. It's a chill. It's more of a like I said, chill vibe. But he's talking about some real content. But it just sticks with me. Like out of there's a lot of these that I be just randomly singing, but this is one of them. So I was like, man, if it had that much impact on me, it got to move up. Man Up Above. Again, I don't want to get into like telling people what to do. I just think what would have made this so much higher is if the entire kind of like Legacy or not, or we'll get to the other song, but I just wish the concept was throughout the whole song. So like I want to say the last verse is when he's talking about somebody and how he turned to the Bible because of his situation. If every verse would have been about that, like a different friend or a different story about somebody turning to the Bible, this would have been top three. The Marvin Sapp sample, all that. It was good. And very like when I first heard it, I was like, how is Jenny from the Block like something you want to pay homage to? And it might not even that he want to pay homage. He might have just thought, musically it fit well. But that was my initial reaction. But the more I heard it, I mean, even actually the first time I heard it, by the end of the song, I was like, nah, this works. The little Jenny from the Block flow works really well with what they doing there. So the two sample flips, got to give it a lot of credit for that. The Let Out, because he dropped this right before the album dropped, and I honestly didn't hear the whole thing, but I was like, what in the world is this? I did not like it. And obviously, you gotta listen to the whole thing and then listen to it more. But particularly in the sequence of the album, it makes so much sense. Like, cause I see a lot of people listen to the Let Out and they not listening to what he's saying. But even like me, I was listening to what he was saying, but it was out of context, so it was just kind of like random. But in the concept of the album, following drum and bass, then it's like, oh, it just amplifies it when you put it within the context of the album. But no, the more I listen to it, I really like it. I like I like that it was creative. It was different. And I'm sure, plenty of people like, oh, such did this. That's cool. We know vibes can be the same or whatever. But for Cole, it was different. And I really haven't heard too many songs recently like that. So I like, but that to all be wrapped into this long story of him being back home, being at the club, thinking that it was cool, and finding out the hard way, that, not everybody your fan for real, or not everybody gonna, give you the pass. So that's a good song. But apparently a lot of people love it. I was kind of surprised. Bombs in the Ville, Hit the Gas. This is all about Hit the Gas. I call this a walk-off grand slam. Because Bombs in the Ville, and again, same thing. The more I hear it, it's cool, but even still probably would not have cracked this tier of songs. But Hit the Gas, man. Like the first time I heard this, I was like searching if somebody separated the songs, because I was like, I just want to download Hit the Gas. I don't want the Bombs in the Ville part. But, I got off of that because you got to respect Cole. This is what he wanted. This way he intended it. But, yeah, Bombs in the Ville is kind of whatever. But it's short, thankfully. Now, Hit the Gas, you got the Luda Fantasy. That sample mix was fire. Absolutely fire. And it was just a straight up vibe that really saved the song, period. But then right before when you think it's over, he hits you with a little verse that was one of the best verses on the album. And he talked about the iPhone that could travel through time and talking to his younger self, showing the kids. Complete fire. Like, yes, heavy in the rotation because everything he gave us and hit the gas. Lonely at the top. Um, love everything about it. The only reason I couldn't put it higher is because it's really only hitting one mark, which is the bars, and that's obviously enough to get you all the way up here. But that's really the biggest thing. It's just some real talk. I love the way he strung it together, but yeah, I wouldn't even say he was spitting. He was talking, and everything he said, yeah, legit. Like, he don't have that motive. That this is literally the fall off. Like, he don't have that motivation no more. He don't have nobody that he's chasing no more. He want them to have that spark so that he could have a spark, but then almost feeling like, well, maybe things just changed. It's just the way it go. Connecting back to hit the gas, like a new flower grows. So that was a fire song. The fall off is inevitable. Um, we heard that. I think that was the first thing he dropped, the video. But this is pure writing, because I think the video coming out really messed up people, because they saw it visually what he was trying to paint and really don't listen to it as maybe close as you should, me included. But I didn't listen. I listened to it like once because I was just like, I'm gonna wait for the album. But when you listen to it like just audio, or you just listen to it multiple times, you realize just kind of how fire the scheme is. Like, we know the concept of his life in reverse, but you really realize how fire the scheme is. Like, when he said he walking back down the aisle, or before he walked back down, but he basically said, thinking about his girl, should I do? Like, should I take the ring off, or should I, plan into that reverse moment of, should I put the ring on the finger and be with her for life? And then flipping it to, should I take the ring off her finger and, go back? Now he going back down the aisle. And even when he was talking about leaving the club, how he flirted with the girl, leave the club, back reverse to cracking a smile was the last thing. And then getting to the concert, and it started off with an encore. Like, just straight up Tenet type stuff. So I thought the writing is fire on there. What if this is a great concept. Obviously a lot of people have touched the Biggie and Tupac thing, but I like this. Obviously, this is J. Cole's version, which is as it typically is black men being more emotionally mature, having better communication, and just being more vulnerable than they actually are. And so that's his alternative. And I put Fun Boondocks, like, because, yeah, there's a lot of stuff you can bring up about Tupac and Big, especially people's songs that they make, and it ain't fun because, it's tragedy. But in this tragedy, he remixes it to a happy ending, so that was kind of fun. It's like the Boondocks. It's like the Martin Luther King episode. If y'all familiar with that, it's fun to dream. Like, that's what Boondocks did a lot. They remixed history and different figures and stuff, and I thought that was a cool concept. Yeah, a lot of points for the creativity. The bars was cool, but and the music was, it was cool. So I just gave it such a high ranking because of how creative it was, how he did the different flows, and for the message of it. All right, so let's move up. I keep doing that. I keep getting y'all. All right, we heating up some more. Number 8, we got Old Dog. This is fire to me. Yeah, this is, man, I almost want to put it higher. Like, I like the flow. I don't think the bars were like the top in the group, but the hit, like the hit factor, just the way it feels, like how I like to go back to it. Um, I love it. Like I love it so much that it had to be in my top 10. Um, and I get the PD Pablo and all that. I don't even mind necessarily what the little I don't know insert sample in there is. I don't know if I love the way it sounds, but I still really love that song. Poor Thing, man, it was hard not to put this in the top. Like honestly, this is right around where it got incredibly difficult to figure stuff out. But Poor Thing, I I love I don't know, I love the beat. I love all of it. Like I love the hook on it. I love the Boosie sample. Got a lot of points for that. The way they did that. I wish he used that more times. He only used it once. I feel like it could have fit in there a few more times. But this, this the one where he was going off about whoever his Fayetteville nemesis is, hometown nemesis, and everybody's been loving that, and I love that part too. I'm trying to think because I can't remember every single verse of every song, but I don't want to say that it wasn't bars, but it wasn't as many bars as the other one. And that's the thing, like when you do rankings and stuff or any type of grading, nowadays people don't have the capacity to just understand something can just be better. That doesn't make something bad. Like yeah, like this isn't bad at all. Obviously it's number 7, but there other songs just had more. So there we go. Let's go into, yep, this is the last group. So this was hard. Ranking these 6 was torture, and it kept changing because this took me a few days, probably like 3 days. And honestly, even today, like depending on the day, I feel like this changes. So Quick Stop, oh my god, I love that song. Like these are a different tier for sure of songs. Quick Stop, I love the message, I love the flow, I love that he just straight, he just went with the energy and just let it go. It didn't take any complicated schemes. The beat was chill, wasn't nothing crazy musically. Yeah, I said it was pure bars because that's what it was. Like, yeah, what he was saying was just, man, that's one of my favorites, bro. That's one of my favorites. But I was trying to rank it on a criteria. Um, Who the is you? A lot of people talking about that. That's probably the biggest banger of the group. Pure Fire, man. Pure Fire. Like that beat switch and how he was going was like that was nasty. But this is, yeah. The bars in this song, I think people sleeping on, and I like the way he was. I like the way he was flowing on it. I mean, I heard the path and I heard the bad, and a lot of people like Eminem. Like I don't know. Again, I'm not the biggest music head to sit here and say what this is and that. I just like coming from Cole. I like the way he delivered it. I like the way it was different from the other stuff, and the bars were actually fire. And so you had a good beat, a good flow, you had bars, then you had a beat switch and a like straight up for real car banger. Like yeah, pure fire. Safety, I was in love with this song from the jump, but still it made it in the top 5, but there's some other ones, but this is just this is a story, like, and I love these songs. It reminded me very East Coast, reminded me Joey BA, Lupe. I know Lupe's from Chicago, but still, it just reminded me of that era of just like, let me sit back and tell a story. And the way it fit with the concept of 29, this whole idea of just putting yourself in this space of Cole just getting on and going back home for the first time. And I talk a lot about, for those that go away to college, that first time coming home after that, and how, at least in my experience and other people that I've talked to, how you look at things different, but then a lot of people look at you differently too. And those relationships that you had with people aren't going to be the same, even with your family. And so it reminded me so much of that, but just straight skating on the beat for the whole time, like nothing else to say. 39 intro, man, it was hard not to say this was number one. I had to find a nitpick to break up this group. So the only reason this wasn't number one is because of the beginning, which a lot of people like. And I mean, it wasn't bad. I think it was cool. But had that just been the intro, this was not going to be in the top five. So the second part, when he spazzes out, obviously fire, bars, flow, all that. However, again, I just had to find something to differentiate. I love the beat too on that. Number two was life sentences. I think getting to this point after the whole lead up through 29 was so satisfying narratively, even though we knew what happened. But just to hear what he was talking about, and the beat, like the music part was fire, but then you add in the DMX sample, which is so replayable, quotable. This is the one that after the first few listens, this is the one that I could not stop singing all the time in my head. But still so, replayable. But really what takes it over the top for me is what he's talking about. And this idea of having that conversation of like making the decision to commit. And so doing life together and all that part was fire. And then Lover Again, I'm not mad at this at number one. Like I said, anything in the top six could have been my number one, but I'm not mad at this. Pure hip hop. And I had to decide that out of the main, concepts of this album, hip hop had to be one of the highest one, and this was pure hip hop. It was about hip hop. It was homage to some big hits from some of our popular rappers. It was a flow. It was everything. And it was about falling back in love again, making amends with hip hop. And I just think it represented the whole album. And that's the way I was able to parse these out. So that's my list. Number one, I got Lover Again from track 30 or from disc 39. Life Sentences 39. 39 intro. Safety from 29. Who Is You from 29. Quick Stop. Poor Thing. Old Dog. What If. The Fall Off Is Inevitable. Lonely at Top. Bombs in the Ville. Hit the Gas. The Let Out. Man Up Above. Legacy. The Villas. Drum and Bass. Bunsy Road Blues. Run a Train. Only You. 2-6. Whole Worldsville. Ocean Way. 29 intro. Let me know in the comments what you think. Let me know what your ranking is. Let me know what you thought about the album, all that stuff. Share it around, get the convo started. Thumbs up, subscribe, and thank you for listening.